Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Here's a 2-minute recap of what we discussed at greater length during our weekly webinar today regarding the New York HERO Act update. On July 6th, the New York State Department of Labor published the model plans and a airborne infectious disease exposure prevention standard relevant to the new requirements under the New York HERO Act, New York Labor Law Section 218B, that requires all private employers with work sites in New York State to either adopt a model airborne infectious disease exposure prevention plan or adopt an alternative plan that meets or exceeds the minimum standards set forth in that standard that I just referenced. The Department of Labor issued a few specific industry-specific standards that apply to agriculture, construction, delivery services, emergency response, food services, domestic workers, manufacturing and industry, personal services, private education, private transportation, and retail. So covered employers can either choose to adopt the general model airborne infectious disease exposure prevention plan or one of the more specific industry model plans. If an employer chooses to adopt an alternative plan, there are additional rules that apply. In a unionized setting, employers will be required to adopt a plan or develop a plan, an alternative plan pursuant to an agreement with the collective bargaining representative. Even in a non-unionized setting, the statute is clear that employers are required to adopt an alternative plan with quote unquote meaningful participation from employees. So in order to adopt an alternative plan, those additional requirements are required. Employers have until August 5th to adopt a plan to become compliant with the New York HERO Act. Again, that New York Labor Law Section 218B. And there are a few other requirements. So employers are required to provide a written notice and copy of the plan to all employees within 30 days of adoption of a plan, or within 60 days of the date that New York State Department of Labor published the model plans. So 60 days from July 6th puts us at September 4th. So employers must provide a copy of the plan to employees in their primary language. Within those timeframes, employers are also required to provide a copy of the plan to new hires upon hire, as well as within 15 days upon reopening after a period of closure due to an airborne infectious disease. These plans, although they must be adopted now, kind of sit on the shelf and they are on standby until they are formally activated by a designation of an outbreak, if you will, by the Commissioner of Health. So employers should become compliant and adopt those policies by August 5th. There's also a posting requirement. Employers must post a copy of the plan in a prominent location in each work site. And if an employer has an employee handbook, then it must go in there as well. The plans also make clear that there's training requirements once these plans are activated. So it's important for employers to review those model plans as well as the models or the standard itself to identify additional obligations that are required under this new law.